$1 million or more could simply be the additional benefit of taking some sensible financial decisions in life, irrespective of your income. Now, I find it quite surprising that perhaps more than the income, how you take some financial decisions in life makes so much of a difference on the wealth that you accumulate. It is still a subject that is not taught on a formal or an informal basis, either in schools or in universities. But thanks to YouTube and social media, people like myself who made some of these mistakes can share their insights and knowledge with you so you don't have to. My name is Omar, and on my channel, I share with you my insights related to personal finance and life matters in general. And if you like the content of this channel and want to hear more about stuff like this, please feel free to subscribe. Now, let's dig into these lessons one by one. The most important lesson of all, invest, and invest from a very early age. It is the first thing that you need to start doing when you get your first paycheck. Take a percentage of it away and just blindly start to invest. And when I use the word blindly, I do not mean just invest blindly in anything. Take a low risk investment, perhaps the S&P 500, and just put a fixed sum of money. Assume you're making $2,000 a month. Take $200 of it, 10% of it away, and just start to simply invest this money. Now, I know there are a number of reasons why some of us have to use that money elsewhere or think about using that money elsewhere, but investment is as important as actually spending money on the basic necessities. Therefore, you need to make sure that you have a budget on a monthly basis, and you need to allow for that budget before you even pay your rent, in my view. Just start to invest. This is how much of a difference it makes if you start to invest at 20 versus if you start to invest at 40. If you started to invest at 40 at $200 a month, by the time you're 60 years old, you're probably going to get $170,000, $180,000 worth of total accumulated wealth. If you start to invest at 20, you're going to get a wealth check worth $1 million by the time you're 60 years old. That's a difference of $800,000. And you know how much additional money you've put in to get that additional $800,000? Only an additional $50,000. And you've accumulated getting $800,000 at the back of that. This is how compounding works. We're not going to go into the details, but compounding works in magical ways. The earlier you start to invest and see the magic of time working through it, the more benefit you're going to draw out of it. So the fundamental and the most important lesson of life is to start to invest early. I tell all the teenagers around me and all the people who are between the ages of 20 to 25 that just start to put your money towards an index fund, perhaps S&P 500, and just forget about it. It is probably going to make the biggest difference in your life in terms of the financial outcome that you're going to generate over a lifetime. Now, most of us have become sort of used to getting instant returns of investments, and this is how the world is operating. Instant gratification, instant return. But trust me, consistency is extremely important if you want to look at the long-term picture of life. And I know the younger ones find it hard to believe, but $200 a month, $300 a month, just put away aside in an S&P 500 index, and at the age of 60, you'll be thanking me, and you'll be thanking that you watched this video. So it's an extremely important thing to do, to start to invest as early as possible. Number two, the thing that I would actually like to talk about here is avoiding speculative investment. Over a lifetime, you will come across a lot of different speculative investments, whether it's a business that is set up by a friend or an acquaintance, or whether it's some other form of high return investment or get-rich-quick scheme. They sound very, very enticing. And to be honest, I have made the mistake of investing a couple of times in high risk, very high return sort of investments. However, what tends to happen in these scenarios is 99.5% of the time, they're not going to work out. Even if in one of these cases they do work out, greed will kick in and you'll try to find even more quicker ways of making money and invest in more speculative investments. And overall, you're going to start to lose money. Therefore, it is much better to avoid, particularly at early stage of your life, to avoid any kind of speculative investment. If you do feel like investing, then the least you could do is make sure that you're investing a very small sum of money or a very small proportion of your overall savings into that speculative investment. And from my point of view, speculative investment could be anything. It is a business that is set up by a friend. It is a new stock that has come on the market. It is cryptocurrencies or anything like that. These investments hardly work out over a long-term period. You will get greedy. You will start to invest more and more. And therefore, in the end, you will perhaps lose all the benefit that you would have made even through an early speculative investment that might or might not have worked out. And the third most important lesson is the control over emotions. Over a lifetime, you will go through a lot of different kind of markets. There will be a bull market, there'll be bear markets, there'll be recessions, high interest rates, low interest rates. Therefore, your emotions will create havoc in you. More so than taking the right fundamental decisions, it is very important to take control of your emotions when the markets are going through a turmoil, they're going through ups and they're going through downs. And normally your emotions drive you in the opposite direction of taking the sensible decisions. So what tends to happen in a bear market? As the stock prices are coming down, most of us try to sell our stocks. This is exactly the thing that I have done myself. And as the markets are going up, we try to buy more, which is, if you think about it, intuitively the wrong decision. Because if the markets are going up and you're trying to buy more, you're buying something at much more expensive price than it was available before. And if the markets are coming down and you're selling, you're actually trying to sell something that you bought at a much higher price. Completely counterintuitive decisions that come out of financial stress and effectively come out of markets that are going through a turmoil or a bull and a bear scenario. Therefore, taking control of your emotions and remaining consistent is extremely important. Irrespective of a bull or a bear market, if you fundamentally believe in a market, which I think I do, for example, S&P 500, I do not think any recession could kill the S&P 500 index over a long-term period. Therefore, carrying on investing with your eyes closed, despite the price, despite the recessionary scenarios, despite going up and down, could make a huge difference. Now, more sophisticated investors have a lot of different tools at their disposal where they can take even more sensible decisions. However, for an average person like myself, with the lack of time, with the lack of knowledge, the best way is to just keep investing through the markets, because by using methods like dollar cost averaging, you will probably overall make pretty substantial gain, despite the fact that you're invested in a market which is probably at a high and then another time in a market which is a low. So the most important thing is to control your emotions when the markets. Don't try to withdraw all your savings when the markets are going down, and don't try to put a lot more money in when the markets have started to go up, because over a lifetime, these are not sensible decisions. Keep a consistent strategy, keep a fixed sum of money, and invest through that cycle. Therefore, at the end of it, you'll be able to withdraw a pretty substantial gain. And the last lesson that I would talk about is, at least early in the early parts of your life, when you've come out of university, you're heading into the financial world, try to keep your commitments low. Whether it's a lease on an expensive car, or whether it's a completely expensive other things that you can't afford, try to keep your financial commitments low. Because I'll tell you what, as life progresses, it becomes more and more harder to create disposable income, which you can put aside towards investment. And the golden years before you're married, before you have kids, before you have a huge mortgage, are the best years to start to invest early. Therefore, what you want to do is to keep as much money aside as possible to invest, rather than what I call vanity spending, which is absolutely not needed. Expensive clothes, expensive cars, or anything that effectively you're doing to either self-please yourself or to show to the world that you've got money. The lesser you will keep your financial commitments earlier in your life, the lesser spending that you will actually be undertaking, the more money that you will have for disposable income, which can be put towards investment. And trust me, it will return you 5 times better, 10 times better return than actually buying an expensive car that over a lifetime would actually be losing much more value. These are the 4 most important things that I can tell you about my personal lessons, that if I got the opportunity again in life, I would do these things actually slightly differently. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Please click like, subscribe, and for more contents like this, please stay tuned. Thank you.